We're just moving on. We've applied the kind of black to grey gradient on the eyes. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to apply a little bit of a drop shadow underneath the nose or the beak. We're on step 16. So select the beak, go to Effect, Stylize and Drop Shadow. Okay. Okay, so you can see with your preview what exactly you have. Now, to be honest, there is like guidelines in the tutorial, but go by whatever you think yourself. Like look at the tutorial. It's saying that set the offset of X and Y to 0, but really you can gauge it by yourself. Yeah, that looks okay. Press OK. See, if you turn on your preview and turn off your preview, you might be able to see. Actually, I'm going to slightly increase the X and the Y offset. You can barely see it, but it is there. Okay, and press OK. Okay, so you can see that you have a little bit of a shadow underneath. Okay, so we're on to step 17. Okay, so step 17 onwards is the feathers. So it kind of steps up in intensity a little bit when you move on to the feathers. It's similar to the hairy monster that we did. Yeah, don't worry if it causes you problems at all. So I'm just going to create, well actually I'll just go for a bright colour, a yellow fill here. And I'm going to create a small oval, like around that size, okay? So the reason I'm just doing it yellow is so you can see what I'm doing here, okay? Now, I want to create a gradient on that, okay? So I go to Window and Gradient, okay? And I want to make it an oval with a grey to transparent linear gradient fill. So what we mean is this is a linear, okay? And we want the bottom of it to be grey. So I'm going to take this one away. I don't like this one anymore because I can drag that away, or else drag it into the bin, put it in the bin, okay? And so I want a linear gradient, okay? And I want one side to be grey, okay? So I get a grey from here. And I want the other side to be transparent. So the way I make sure that that's transparent is I click on it, I don't need to worry about the colour, bring this to 0 where it says opacity. So you'll know when you've got these little checkered boxes that means it's transparent, okay? And the next thing that I just need to do is I want the transparency to be on top. So we have to play around with this a little bit, maybe 90 degrees. Yeah, I think that would be right. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for here. So I make copies of these. So I use the Alt and I drag, okay? And you keep going along. If I hold my Shift key as well, it'll make sure that it's in a straight line. Okay, so just gonna kind of guide. Yeah, that's plenty big enough. I'm gonna even make it a little bit. So I'm making a copy. So just kind of like the tutorial, something like so. This is what you're looking for. Okay. Looking good. Oh, Alt key. Now, let's see. Yeah, that's going to fit okay. Okay, so we've done that. So we're on to step 19. So we group them, Control G. That's really important because if you don't group them, it's going to be a pain to try and pick them up. And we place them across the penguin's belly. Okay, now before we do that, I'm going to slightly drag it down. Okay, and I want to make a copy of Object, Unlock All. No, I haven't locked. Apologies. There we go. What was happening there was I was picking up the shadow from the nose, that's why. So I'm going to make a copy of the belly shape, so Control C, Control F. I know it's a copy if I move it over, and I've got another one underneath, so I can undo that then. Okay. Okay, so bring this back on, and what you're going to do is you're going to lock it so that you can select your belly shape. So Control 2 to lock it, okay? And we're going to bring this piece on top. So Object, Arrange, bring to front. Object, Arrange, bring to front, whatever way, okay? So now you should have your belly on top of the feathers, okay? And you're going to Object and Unlock All. So the reason I did that, I locked this, was because I wanted to bring the belly on top, okay? I'm going to slightly resize mine just so that I can get the most out of it. I've created all these like little feathers, so why not make use of them? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want the feathers to make this kind of an oval shape or this semicircle shape. So I select the feathers, hold the Shift key and select the belly. Sorry, belly and feathers. Okay, and I'm going to use the crop button from the Pathfinder panel. Okay, so get my Pathfinder panel up again. So Window and Pathfinder. And I want to use the crop. Now I can always have trouble. There's the crop, okay? So do you see what it's done? It's just left the feathers underneath, okay? Okay, so I'm on to step 21, okay? Don't worry if this is as far as you can go, that's fine. We want to make kind of a bulgy shape for the belly. So Object, Envelope to store to make with warp. Okay, and from here you're going to select bulge. Okay, now you can play around with this. I'm going to slightly bring this down. On the tutorial it says like 26, so that should be okay. Okay, and make sure your preview is on. You won't see it. Actually, it doesn't seem to make a difference here, but okay. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to expand this now because it's a special effect, so we want to change it into an object so that we can crop it again. So we go to Object, Expand, press OK. So now we've changed it into an object again. Okay, so we're on to step 23. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing again. I'm going to move this over, make a copy of the belly, Control C and Control F. I'm going to bring this belly on top, Arrange, bring to front. Okay, so now I have the belly on top of the pattern, and I'm going to do the crop tool again. Okay. Okay, now what it might be best to do is change the opacity if you wished. It depends on what colour you made it. So if you want to change the opacity, you can go to the opacity at the top of the screen here and maybe go 70% or something, and you'll just be left with something like so. Now, we seemed to forget our little feet, but I often make the feet the same as the beak, that orange colour. Now it won't apply the gradient, but that's fine, I'm happy enough with that. And I'm just going to take the stroke off this. That's it. So I hope you have managed to keep up with me, and any questions, let me know.